Testing, testing.
Mic test 2, mic test 2. Good afternoon, Cartwriter. We're on standby until the event begins. If you could clear the captions, that'd be great.
Mic test one.
Mic test, mic test, mic test.
Can you hear me out of this microphone? Can you hear me out of this microphone? Super one.
Thank you, Cartwriter. We're just doing some technical stuff with the audio folks here. You can clear those captions as well. right, round of applause, everybody. Hello, everybody. If we can take our seats, please. We're about to get started. So take our seats. If you could all be seated, please. I'm going to do this one more time. All right, let's get everyone's attention. Let's get some more energy in the room. Hello, everybody. So my name is Levi Wood. So I'm the master of ceremonies for tonight. So I'm going to describe what I'm wearing right now, do a visual description. I have brown hair. I have a beard. I'm wearing a black shirt with a bolo tie. I'm wearing a ring as well, black pants. And I'm thrilled and honored to be here tonight with you all. So as I said, my name's Levi. In the spring, I was actually involved in the Bison Tank competition for the 8th annual Bison Tank competition. It was amazing. I was a student at the time, and I won first place. And I actually won the honor of emceeing today's event. So this is my 4th annual Bison Tank, so I'm really excited to get started. So you may be wondering, well, how many of you know what Bison Tank is? So we've had 12 Bison Tank events. So we had 8 student Bison Tanks and we had 4 alumni Bison Tanks. But if you don't know, let me explain what Bison Tank is. So Bison Tank is a powerful way of spreading deaf entrepreneurship and innovation in the United States. So, you know, business students might have ideas, but they might not be sure how to start. Bison Tank is your opportunity to get on stage, pitch an idea, and see how it goes. And you can compete actually for cash prizes. So you're actually able to earn a cash prize if your idea is convincing. So here are our prizes. I see some people in the back saying, wow. So yeah, imagine first place gets $5,000 cash prize. Second place gets a $3,000 cash prize, and third place gets a $2,000 cash prize. So $10,000 is put aside to foster deaf innovation, which is amazing. And go back to the deaf ecosystem. So before we get started, first I'd like to introduce our president, Roberta Cordano. So Bobby, please come on up for some opening remarks.
This is an example of an excellent student at Gallaudet. Fabulous job. I'm Bobby Cordano, president of Gallaudet University. My hair is brown, but becoming more gray by the day. I'm wearing a blue suit with lightly colored pinstripes, and I have pants that match the jacket. I'm wearing glasses. Okay. Well, welcome. Welcome, everybody. It's always fun whenever we get to attend the alumni Bison Tank. And I say that because although alumni have left campus, they're still entrepreneurs. And as they've left the university and go out to work, they realize that they actually have a bigger passion than what they're currently seeing. They have ideas to create something new. And this is the space and way that alumni can spread that inspiration. There's a reason why this is so important to Gallaudet. We've been able to partner with Convo, and specifically a deaf entrepreneur at Convo, who has been successful in his entrepreneurship. And the idea was, how can we continue that? And that's truly what's led to the growth of this program. We strongly believe in learning being a pillar throughout your 4 years, even through graduate school and online learning. It is a fundamental value. The reason why it's so important is because deaf people deserve the right to generate wealth. One way to create wealth is to establish a business. And if not a business, then being creative enough to find out ways to earn additional income on the side. But a part of our community's strength this entire time, recognizing that we have a large presence of deaf entrepreneurs in the US, If more deaf people became entrepreneurs more so than hearing people, can you imagine what the world would look like? Something else that's really key to know is that Bison Tank spotlights innovators. It spotlights creativity, and it is such an inspiration to watch. As I watch the different contestants, I get so inspired knowing that they're all coming from the deaf community, and each of them so diverse. It is such an inspiration to see the strength of our community and what could be done when we support each other like we're doing here tonight. And the job of Gallaudet University is to ensure that we sustain the growth of these entrepreneurs, this creativity. And I'm so proud and thankful to Lorenzo and Russ for your support in making this dream happen. This is such an excitement every year. And as I know, this is a very time-sensitive event, and I'm getting the nudge here. But thank you so much for coming. And without this success would not be possible. It's exciting to see your support, and make sure that you vote well. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bobby, the president of Gallaudet University, for opening remarks. So, yes, innovation and entrepreneurship is very important here. So, this event is made possible by the Gallaudet Opportunities for Advancement and Learning. So, I'll explain a little bit about it. We have a video actually that will help shed some light. So I'm wearing a blue shirt with the gold logo. So I'm the director of CCE and GIEI. So under our program, we have some specific goals, and those we have Gallaudet Opportunity for Advancement and Learning, and it's a big process for Gallaudet University to go through. And GIEI is one of our main programs under goal. So our goal is fundamentally deaf entrepreneurship success, and we offer many, many programs. So for example, Bison Tank, which you're at right now and part of, is one of them. We also have an 8-week accelerated program. We have our Bison Talk series. We have business classes, and we have mentorship opportunities. All are deaf business owners, and they are mentors in our program, and they understand the challenges that our students face. So we're proud because Gallaudet is the only one offering an accelerated program in the world for the deaf. Accelerator program in the world for the deaf. It builds trust, and it gives people an opportunity to test and grow their business. And through Goal, we've also expanded and offered lifelong learning opportunities, workforce training programs, and we've actually opened a new opportunity for the deaf. We're opening new opportunities for the deaf community. So we're excited to announce a new learning training center called LTC, and they support innovation in bilingual learning. So before I continue, let's watch a short video about LTC. So as you could see, the deaf community is full of innovation, drive, and entrepreneurship. And I know the feeling. You know, you start small with an idea, the risk is very big, you're facing challenges, and you have to go through rigorous steps and persevere. And today we're going to celebrate together and listen to some of our contestants. So our alumni, our mentors, our judges, our sponsors that make this event possible, I want to give them a big thank you. And if you're all ready to feel inspired, we'll get started. So enjoy amazing, bold ideas. And next, I'd like to welcome my amazing star, Lorenzo Lewis. He's my GIEI coordinator, so I'd like to bring Lorenzo out.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm thrilled and honored to be here. I'm excited to see how many people registered for the event. My name is Lorenzo Lewis. As far as the image description, a light-skinned man with a mustache, goatee, and a GIEI Bison Tank shirt. So thank you for coming. First, I'd like to make a few opening remarks before we kick off the event. Of course, most importantly, we want to recognize Convo, who has been a key sponsor partner since day one. I mean, I'm talking from the very beginning, the first Bison Tank competition. If it weren't for Convo, then this would not be possible. So thank you so much to Convo. One of our judges here is representing Convo, so thank you so much for being here tonight. Secondly, of course, we've had various sponsors tonight, including one company who's sponsoring the live streaming, which is Caption Anywhere, and they're set up in the back. So Caption Anywhere, thank you so much for your support tonight. And another partner is the National Disability Institute, NDI, one of our key partners, who has provided assistance in seeking out grant opportunities over the past 3 years. And this would not be possible without their support. In addition to their partnership for our mentoring program that we provide, where students who want to learn how to set up their own business, it's a one-stop shop here, thanks to NDI. On the bottom, for the people who registered over there at the check-in desk, they're a Business Student Council, and they have been supporting us. Wonderful group of students who have been committed to GIEI events and all other events hosted by the Department of Business. So thank you, BSC, for your support. Thank you, Holly Fallstone. We appreciate you so much. We also have a scholarship called Wright, the Wright Scholarship, and that was established by Sligo, Oregon, as well as Reedy. And that scholarship is aimed at marginalized students who have a passion to set up their own business. So if you identify as a marginalized student, feel free to reach out and inquire about any scholarship opportunities. Again, thank you to Slimo and Charity. And lastly, we have the RSA, our Rehabilitation Services Administration. Last year in October, they were able to provide a 5-year grant. And I can remember the stress I was going through last year, thinking about how we're going to pay our subject matter experts and mentors. And thankfully, we were able to get that grant through them. And so anytime you see us asking for data, whether that's the Bison Take event registration numbers or a Bison Talk series, we appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. I also have to recognize our mentors who have supported our 8-week accelerator program since September. And in doing so, they've worked with our Bison Tank contestants to ensure that they're well prepared for their big day. And every week, they've had the opportunity to meet with their mentor, and all of these mentors have been amazing. Thank you to those who are remote as well as those who are in person with us today. Thank you again. Can we go back a slide? Let's keep backing it up. Okay. So it occurs to me I jumped ahead a little bit. I do have one surprise for everyone tonight. Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but there's a video that I have to show you. And I really want to see that. I want to see your reaction to this, okay? It's a short video. You see how amazing that is? A Gallaudet alum made it on Shark Tank. And Shark Tank was the inspiration. We finally have an alumni who was supported through our program and made an appearance on Shark Tank. That's amazing. There have been people asking, when are these contestants going to appear on Shark Tank? And we weren't sure. When they show it live on Shark Tank, I'll make sure that the community is aware through an announcement. And please encourage your friends, family, anyone who's passionate to start up a business to watch that episode, all right? Thank you so much. I'm really excited to see what the results of that episode are going to look like. Lastly, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Tiffany Rufa, who's been a part of our GIEI support behind the scenes. I've had the pleasure of working with her for 4 years now, an amazing person. And she's truly supported me through accelerator sessions. And those who work with me know that I can come across very high strung, anxious, type A, and Tiffany is as steady as it gets. The yang to my yang. So thank you, Tiffany, for everything that you've done. I'm blessed to have you as a part of the GIEI team. Much love to you. Thank you. Now, before I proceed with introducing our amazing judges, there are intro videos that I'm excited to show you first. Our next judge. Here's our next judge. Now, can you guess who created this beautiful video? One of the Business Student Council members was able to put this together. Thank you so much for that. We also have to recognize our gold sponsors, Caption Anywhere. Let's take a moment to recognize them. I'm Josh Prado, Hispanic man, short guy with a t-shirt, blue jeans. This is now my 8th event together with GIEI, and I'm grateful to them for trusting me and my team on making this happen. Not only providing access to those who are here in person, but also those who are accessing remotely. Please make sure you continue attending and watching this event. Thank you so much. We also want to recognize our platinum sponsor, Joseph from Convo.
Hey, everybody. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to my cue spot. I was very excited. I wanted to start running around on stage. Hello, everybody. Should I talk about myself a little bit? Okay. So I am an Asian man wearing a gray shirt, wearing brown pants, and I have light gray hair. So, you know, Convo is proud to support this event. It's our 8th year sponsoring this event. Oh, our 4th year sponsoring the student version. Okay, so we did the alumni version for 4 years. But if you are, you know, might want to know what Convo is, it's one of the largest deaf-owned businesses in the world. We don't only do business in the United States, we do business in 5 countries around the world. And if you want to learn more about Convo, we do have lots of different solutions to help make your life easier. Stop by our booth. It's outside of the MPR. You see the gentleman wearing the blue jacket over there. You can help keep him busy. So someone asked what countries. We're in the U.S. Can anyone guess what other countries? Canada, yes. The United Kingdom, Australia, and South Africa. All right, so good luck to all the contestants. All right, round of applause for them. All right, are you guys ready to get to the heart of the Bison Tank competition? Are you guys ready to get started? All right, so let me explain a little bit about the format and what the competition is going to look like. So we have 8 contestants, all of them are Gallaudet alumni. 7 contestants, all of them are Gallaudet alumni, and they're going to give a passionate pitch to our judges who are seated to my left. We have 1 remote contestant, and we have 6 who are in person. So they have 8 minutes on stage to deliver their pitch to the judges, and they have to pitch their business idea, and then there's 5 minutes for a question and answer session with the judges, or 3-minute pitch, 5-minute Q&A, and we'll go through all of the contestants before we decide our winners, and we'll issue cash prizes to first, second, and third. So our first contestant, please come on up to the stage. So if I can invite our first contestant to the stage. Oh, I'm sorry, they're remote actually, so we have to get them up on screen. Okay, please go ahead and introduce yourself, actually, and provide a visual description as well.
I'm not able to see.
While they're doing some tech solutions, what are you guys looking forward to for this event? I see some of you saying all the great ideas. Okay, we're ready to get started.
Hi, I'm Neema. As far as image description, I have a black shirt. I have slick back hair with glasses, small earrings, a cream-colored background behind me. Before I get started, there are 2 words that are really important that I'll explain more throughout my slide. One is deaf, and the second is provider. And when I say deaf, I'm referring to the community: deaf, deafblind, uh, late deafened, anyone who identifies as deaf, and then community. So people who work in the mental wellness field, it could be therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, mental health professionals, with the point being the Deaf Mental Health Hub. When I was a little girl that was growing into becoming a teenager, I noticed that I had limited access to resources. Being an older adult now, I can recognize that there are barriers when it comes to accessing mental health. And my goal is to be able to remove those barriers and allow you to connect with the Deaf Mental Health Hub. A little bit about my background. I'm an LPCA, which is a licensed professional counselor associate, earning my hours to become fully licensed. I'm a therapist at the National Deaf Therapy, founder and CEO of the Deaf Mental Health Hub. I have a bachelor's in psychology from Gallaudet University, Go Bison. I have a master's in mental health counseling from Arcadia University. Over 10 years experience in clinical, educational, community settings in the mental health field. And I have a very strong passion when it comes to deaf mental health and resource sharing. Mental health care is not accessible for deaf people. In 2021, there's a study that showed 67% of deaf adults experience mental health challenges, yet most never receive care. Resources are very spread out and difficult to find. Good providers can feel like hidden gems. Our goal is to establish a directory that is more deaf-friendly. Because we recognize that it's difficult to access mental health resources, that also means it's difficult to access healing. I've heard so many different stories from the deaf community and their challenges on accessing mental health resources. Visibility, access, and connection are three things that we're missing for a lot of them. And with my business idea, there's a solution at hand. Our Deaf Mental Health Hub has three main areas. One is a provider's directory, which makes providers easy to find. You can find with signing fluent professionals nationwide. We also have an ASL resources library where you can access videos and tools that have to do with self-care, trauma, mental health education, developed by deaf people. And then third, we have consulting and collaboration services, where we can help organizations become more deaf-friendly, including their space and logistic considerations. We have a website, and our goal is to find providers who are fluent in ASL. You can watch ASL education when it comes to mental wellness. And if you know of any deaf health providers, they'll be able to be a part of our network. When it comes to access on our platform, it's possible to access in a bilingual manner. So it's deaf-friendly. We have voiceovers for those who rely on spoken audio, with our goal of being a fully accessible platform. We do have a website, www.deafmentalhealthhub.com. It's accessible on various devices, such as tablets, mobile devices, laptops. Check out our website to see what we have. As far as the next steps for the Deaf Mental Health Hub, it starts with developing trust from the community. We launched our website in fall 2025, and we're looking to get user feedback by summer 2026. Our next phase is to engage with community with the beta directory launch. Collect user and provider feedback during the summertime. And then expand our ASL resource library by partnering with providers, hosting webinars, events with different organizations nationwide. We are seeking support and partnerships, and our goal is to expand our project with funding. That funding will be used to support the website, ASL content creation and outreach, and collaboration to grow deaf-led mental health resources. It looks like my slides disappeared on me, but I'll continue. Access to healing should be built by us for us. It should be made possible for it to be fully accessible to the deaf community. We've waited so long and had to deal with so many barriers. The time to heal is now, and you can begin with us. This is where you can start. You can follow us on various social media platforms and our website to learn more. Thank you so much.
All right, round of applause for Naima. All right, we'll start with our, well, actually, maybe make sure our tech is good for our next session. All right, did everyone enjoy Naima's pitch? So we're going to shift over to question and answers, and we'll get started. All right, so for those of you guys who are coming for their class reunion, can I see a show of hands? Oh, I guess not many. Oh, yeah, look, we got some people back there. What's the best part of your reunion so far? Meeting old friends, of course. Yeah, what else? Any other? Yeah, reminiscing on olden days. Yeah, I think many people, obviously Gallaudet means a lot to them, so it means a lot to me as well. So my parents are actually alumni of Gallaudet as well. My brother's an alumni of Gallaudet. My uncle is an alumni as well. So, I think Gallaudet's home for many people. Agreed. So we have lots of technology today, and it can be great, but sometimes we have to navigate issues that come up. All right, I'm seeing a go-ahead that we can get started and that the tech is all set. I guess there's some issues with some of the video freezing, but we can go ahead and get started. So first question. Hey, I'm Ella. So my question is, I see your plan. It seems like it's to set up a website. So how do you plan to get people's information? How do you plan to attract subscribers?
So your question is how do I plan to reach out to people and gather information?
Yeah, and also gather content.
Okay. So I plan to reach out directly to organizations, private practices with cold emails at first. I also plan to attend conferences. I was able to go to the ADARA conference. I plan on attending various conferences that have to do with mental health. I also plan to use social media, cold DMs, direct messages. And your second question, okay, yes, I remember now. So the directory is going to be subscription-based with 3 tiers from basic up to premium. Which each tier will come with its corresponding perks. You can have a consultant level access where you can get paid based on what folks are looking for, and we also have donation-based funding that we plan on getting as well.
Trudy here. Can you see me? Okay. Well, I have a list of questions, but it's a great idea, first of all. It's wonderful. I'm curious, you were talking about cold calling and trying to, centralize and create a mental health hub. So I'm curious, how would you reach out to those people who are in most need of mental health services? Let's talk about deaf people for this example, who have serious mental health issues but don't have access to the internet, who are illiterate perhaps, maybe unhoused, and are in the most desperate need. Sorry, my picture keeps moving and that's messing with me, but how would you be able to, get to those people who don't have network access, and computer access?
So we know that there are currently existing state associations, and there is a plan to reach out to each state association. We'll have some form of a liaison that can work with that state, and can be local to that area. So we can have paper information printed out in order to ensure that it's more accessible to those that might not have access to the internet. And that also means that we'll have to creatively partner with different associations to find funding in order to meet the needs that exist in those communities. Because I also want to recognize that sometimes there are gaps in those that have access to mental health resources online.
Okay, time has run out, so now our judges are going to do some scoring and then report out. So can everyone, am I visible to those in the back there? Okay, can you see me back there, Naima? I wonder if Naima can see me on stage. So Naima, your experience after doing the bison tank pitch, I'm going to ask you as soon as I get spotlit. That was my question for Naima, actually. I don't think she can see me, but I was going to ask her some questions. Naima, can you see me? Can you see me, Naima? Appear to be having some technical difficulties. Stand by. This is Levi. Who's looking forward to the football game Saturday? Who's going to be here for the football game? Oh, yeah. Y'all's looking forward to that. So the football game, there's also a volleyball game happening at 11 o'clock. So make sure you check that out as well. It looks like Naima can finally see me. Naima, can you see me now? All right, awesome. So Naima, so your experience in Bison Tank, the accelerator program, can you talk about what that was like and give some advice to our audience?
I did have experience with the National Association for the Deaf a couple of years ago. And I won first place with the Youth Ambassador Program competition, which took place in Chicago. However, I really didn't have a truly fundamental understanding of business and entrepreneurship. With the accelerator program, it was able to break those things down to smaller layers to the point where I was able to recognize what I had missed previously. And it's that knowledge that I'm able to carry with me through today, even after today, as I continue to grow my business. So that's one thing that I've really enjoyed, just the amount of information that I've learned, for sure.
I'm really thrilled that you got those resources from GIEI. Can you talk a little bit about, what GIEI taught you in terms of the foundations of business?
Well, for example, when it comes to cold emailing, the customer discovery interviews, really checking in with the community to find out what they're looking for, polling providers that are working in mental health and wellness spaces. So that way, I was able to get more clarity when it comes to what I'm looking for and making sure that I'm aligned with what they're looking for. When it comes to finances, I was really focused on how I'll actually raise the capital needed to support this business. I know that there's many different failures and success stories that have to do with how you actually set up your business, and it's nice to be able to learn that. I know that I have ambitious goals, but I've got to start small, and that's something that GIEI has taught me. Focus on the smaller things, and in the end, it'll be worth it, and you'll end up having a major success.
All right, thank you for sharing that, Naima. So a question and answer session is over, so please turn your camera off, and we'll shift to our next contestant. So contestant number 2, please come on up to the stage.
We're thrilled to have you today. Could you start with an image description and take it away? Good luck.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Brianna. Everyone calls me Bree. So I'm a white woman. I'm wearing a black shoulder-length shirt, and I'm wearing some maroon pants. I have shoulder-length brown hair as well. Okay, first of all, I want to start by asking a question. So I wonder when the last time you asked yourself this question was. Have you asked yourself this week, last week? Same. I mean, it's a common problem, right? So the problem may seem small, but it actually has a huge impact and cumulative costs. So 2/3 of people we survey says cooking causes them stressed. 94 billion of food is wasted every year, and bad diets are a leading risk factor for poor health worldwide. So our solution is what? It's a chef-designed meal planning system, and the goal is to provide balanced and delicious meals. And you can see here that there's several components to our plan, and the goal is to help reduce stress, cut food waste, and help you cook like a chef. So people love our products already. Our social media has already shown a lot of engagement. People are already signing up for our waiting lists for specific cooking videos. So the team is made up of 2 of us, so me and David. So David is our chef. He's been cooking with us cooking for various restaurants. I'm a home cook, and I'm also an engineer. So I've worked at the NIH and the New York Times, and I'm working on developing this home cooking system. So lots of people who eat at home. That's our target. It's our target market. So, if you're currently following us on social media, if we convert only 1% of that group that we're following, we would be able to generate $195,000 a year in revenue. So our business model has 4 tiers or 4 components. You may wonder how we're going to get new customers and new subscribers. So we're talking about social media, so we're hoping that people find our content, find our cooking content, decide to like it and become a subscriber and enter that community. Then later they can buy other products like, register for cooking classes or get advice from other deaf chefs who are teaching various different, skills and topics. And, within the first group, we're going to be focused on home cooks, and later try to grow to Gen Z and try to grow our subscriber base. So now we're getting very close to launch. There's only one thing missing right now. We're missing that one piece. We need a registered dietitian, someone who's a nutritionalist who can come in and look and make sure that we're offering healthy meal plans. So if we get $5,000 of seed funding, we can go ahead and launch by finding that registered dietitian. So our vision is to support cooking at home and spotlighting the deaf community and also deaf people in the food industry. Reasons why are that we believe that everyone should have an opportunity to eat a hearty meal around the dinner table. Thank you all.
Thank you for your time. Are you ready for the Q&A? Is that okay? I know there might be some people who have a tough time seeing me, but I do want to say it was a really good presentation, and I was most struck about the fact that you're a home cook and an engineer. I think that's a lethal mix. It's a dangerous combination. Um, but in thinking about your vision and tying it back into this, are you planning? Well, you talked about having a registered dietitian. Would that person be hearing? Would they be deaf? Would they work with you remotely?
It's a good question. So right now, we would hope that we could find a deaf dietitian. I mean, we are looking, or at least to find someone who has ASL skills. And then thirdly, if not the former, then we will have to find someone who's hearing. Next question.
Just a quick question, and this is a really good plan, but what makes you different than the competition?
You know, that's a great question. I do have a slide actually that addresses that, so I did want to show this. So what makes us different from other companies are what you see here. You know, we have a couple competitors. They would be HelloFresh, Blue Apron, and Mealtime. However, most are focusing on single recipes. We want to focus on a week's worth of recipes. So we want to have, you know, a healthy meal plans for the entire week and be able to provide that and really focus on teaching people cooking skills, providing them those levels of instruction in ASL and making sure that we have videos for different needs and also make sure that they're accessible.
For those who might be new to sign language or not yet fluent, will it be accessible to them as well?
Totally, yeah. On social media, a majority of our followers are hearing people. And we did a survey actually in the past few weeks, and 90% of our respondents were hearing. And I was surprised to see that. One person commented and said that we follow your content, yeah, but I have a question like, are you deaf? Do you sign? And are you learning sign? And I actually added those questions to my survey, and they had some additional comments, and they said that they don't know how to sign, but they are following us because they like our cooking, but also the ASL part is a really cool feature of our videos. So they're willing to stay engaged and watch our videos, as well as you know, show interest and like our videos.
Now, you said if you get 1% of your subscribers, that will be $2.50 per person. How would that work in terms of your short-term and long-term planning? Is that 1% sufficient enough to sustain you for the short term? Are there different numbers that you need to be sustained long-term?
So right now we're focusing on a small number of subscribers so that we can get to our break-even target. Once we get to our break-even target, we would start having a 70% profit margin if we can get to 1% conversion. So we need to get started to get to our break-even point, and then our goal for our second phase would be expansion. Does that answer your question? Yes, it does. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Bree. Your presentation is making me really, really hungry. I think everyone here is getting really, really hungry. We better call some chefs and get some food out here, huh? All right. Well, so how long, you know, this bite, well,
I love the photo here. As a part of the Bison Tank Accelerator program, you've had opportunities to make adjustments to your business plan. But what other benefits have you realized as a result of participating in the Accelerator program?
You know, it's really rare to find a program like this for the deaf community or for people in the deaf community. So for me, I did more in 1 month than I would have been able to do in a year by myself. So that's why they call it an accelerator program. So it really was an amazing experience. I learned a lot and was able to get quite a ways in 2 months.
Yeah, and 90% of her followers are hearing. Think about that as it relates to the deaf world. There's no barriers here for her idea. Now, when it comes to the Accelerator program, there must have been something that you realized that had changed. You've grown in some way. Can you share what that was like for you? Maybe you can speak to some of the personal growth that you experienced as a result of participating.
It's a good question. So, you know, I would say that you have to fail fast if you're going to fail so that you can keep on at it, keep going at it and try again. And you start small and you have to build up and build momentum. You know, don't wait to get started. Just go ahead and get started now.
Yeah, that's a good idea. For those who are scared to fail and maybe that's preventing them from getting started, what words of wisdom do you have for them? What advice do you have?
You know, just do it. You know, just, you know, don't just get rid of those emotions you're having and just get started.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, I think our judges are going to be tallying up the votes soon, but one more question. As you think back to when you started the Accelerator program up until now, how have things changed for you, personally and business wise? But let's start with the personal side.
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, really, when I entered the accelerator program, I thought it would help me in terms of, you know, figuring out what I needed to, figure out what the audience was looking for, so that I could, you know, really provide what they wanted, and what they needed. So that took a lot of time, and I did change my business idea a lot after going through that and thinking about that.
Not only do you grow in the business sense, but you also grow in a personal sense when you're a part of the Bison Tank Accelerator program. So thank you so much, Brianna. Are you ready for our next contestant?
Contestant number 3, come on up. So why don't you introduce yourself, provide a physical description, and we'll go ahead and get started.
My name is Fritz. I'm wearing a dark shirt with a logo on it, gray slacks, black shoes, and a wristband on my right wrist, and a watch on my left. PR Sups is the name of my business. I graduated Gallaudet recently, in May 2025, with a BS in Business Administration. In this picture on the left was when I was a semi-professional sponsored athlete. I was the first deaf certified CrossFit coach in the world. At the time, I met a lot of deaf people at different events, and I noticed that there was a trend. There was a lot of misunderstandings on what supplements can do and what they won't do. And I remember thinking to myself, as a deaf athlete, I wanted supplements I could trust, made by and for our community. And that led to this. PR Subs was established in 2019, and we have products for athletes and general lifestyle supplements for health-conscious consumers. We create clean, transparent supplements that educate and empower deaf and hearing communities, and our vision is to become the standard for quality and service to the deaf community. Now, I sent out a survey to try to get an understanding of what some common problems were that consumers are dealing with. One is that the labels were too confusing. There are far too many options. And it's also hard to know which brands are honest. There's a lot of deceitful marketing that happens out there. We wanted to provide them with what they want: transparent education, a trusted deaf-owned voice, and also having an authentic community-driven brand. The survey shows that deaf consumers and inclusive fitness enthusiasts are a very underserved niche. Here's some insights onto the market. The US dietary supplement market is worth $70 billion. There's 2.5 million ASL users in the US. That's 0.05 of ASL users as a target market. Based on that survey, 90% of consumers purchase supplements regularly every month. Now, we do want to use data in order to identify loyalty programs and subscription-based sales that we can implement as a priority. Now, when it comes to us, PR Subs, versus them, we are a deaf-owned company, while most other companies are hearing-owned. We are a deaf-owned, trusted representation brand, meaning when you engage with me, you're speaking directly to the owner. For everyone else, it's generic wellness branding. And that's what most hearing companies do. When it comes to our marketing, we prioritize using ASL first in order to ensure that they understand their communication and messaging. And we also provide captions. Other companies provide captioning, but they don't consider deaf people in the forefront. They just add captioning as a secondary thought. When it comes to the comparative economic impact, PR Subs reinvests back into the deaf ecosystem to deaf athletes, influencers, whereas hearing companies, oftentimes when you give them money for their supplements, those profits leave the deaf community and they don't reinvest into the deaf ecosystem at all. When it comes to accessibility, PR Subs is designed by deaf individuals and is visual first, whereas other companies do not consider the visual impacts, and usually it's an afterthought. How do you usually discover a new supplement brand or company? Most people will use social media, and then after that, at their local gym, and then lastly, through word of mouth. So because of this data, we're going to focus our marketing to be heavy on social media platforms. We are seeking $5,000 to pre-seed and validate and scale our growth model. Should we win the $5,000, some of that money will be used to develop targeted social media ads. We'll also want to restock fast-moving supplements in our small batch inventory. And then lastly, we'll use some of that money, which this is really important, to work with local influencer and gyms, create partnerships. So for those deaf content creators out there in the fitness space, we'd be able to use some of those funds to partner with them. With that $5K, every dollar that's invested returns $2 to $3 in sales. And we anticipate a break even in roughly 4 to 7 months. When it comes to ROI, or return on investment, beginning with that $5K, within 4 to 6 months, we should be able to 2x that. And anytime we profit, we'll reinvest it back into the company. By the end of year 1, we should be up $30,000, all stemming from that initial $5K capital investment. Now, this is our revenue justification. In that first year, we see daily sales, and then units sold, and then annual revenue per 1,000. So we anticipate 4 daily sales, and by the end of year 1, we'll be at 72,000. By year 2, we'll have 8 daily sales. And then by year 3, we really can see the company strengthening with 15 sales daily 5,300 units sold per 100, and 295 times 1,000 for our annual revenue. This is our QR code if you want to learn more information, and thank you.
Good job, Fritz. All right, it's time for the question and answer session. Okay, so who has the first question for the question and answer? All right, this is Ella. Do you mind talking a little bit more about how you plan to grow your revenue?
Was there a certain slide that you were interested in?
Yeah, I saw you mentioned a slide that had 0.05% of the public was ASL users. I'm trying to figure out how you're going to grow your revenue.
Sure, I have a slide that can explain that. So you would invest 5,000 into ads and inventory, and then the revenue that we earn from that spend would be reinvested. So anytime we get a profit that first month, the following month we'll have additional revenue to reinvest back into the company. And by the end of year one, we should be in an expanded growth position, and we'll continue to do that through year two, and I won't have any profit to myself until the end of year one.
All right, time has run out, so thank you very much. Okay, so, business owners have to have, the reason why they want to start a business. So everyone has their own why, and that is the reason why they become passionate about the thing they're working on. What is your reason why?
When I meet people using supplements, I often ask them why they're using it, and the answer is usually because that's all they have, because it's available. And that's when I take the time to explain what each supplement is for and further educate those people. That's my why.
Thank you for sharing the why. So your business logo and the sign, can you expand on what it means?
So it used to be PR, and I worked with an individual who helped design the logo. And in the logo's design, there's actually a P and an R. So performance and recovery. And usually when it comes to fitness, personal record is a term that people say is PR, so that's why we decided on that name for our company.
So those who are apprehensive about joining Bison Tank, what would you tell them all about joining and doing this?
I think that you'll be better off on the other side after you kind of walk through that fear. The only person that can stop you is you.
And what made you want to go ahead?
Everything that I learned prior to the Bison Tank, I learned on my own. And so when I joined the accelerator program, I was able to fill in some of the gaps and fine-tune my business understanding, and I was really able to improve.
So what did you fine-tune as a result of the accelerator program?
Well, for one, thinking about my customer base and my target audience, oftentimes people have a very broad customer base, but by narrowing down your target audience, you're able to make certain adjustments and better improve your business plan.
Okay, the judges are still typing, so I have some more questions I could ask you. So, participating in Bison Tank's accelerator program, and looking at where you are now, how has your perception changed?
I think before I would kind of move on from one thing to the next, jumping around, whereas now I feel like it's a much more established system that I can follow step by step, and it looks much better on paper than trying to keep track of everything in my head. So by looking at what I've written down, I'm able to go through the cycle and the flow of what I've written down step by step. And if you have a business idea, by moving forward with the idea, you're able to contribute to the deaf ecosystem. Step outside of your comfort zone and act on your idea.
Not just the deaf ecosystem, but the hearing ecosystem as well. So, round of applause to Fritz. Are you all ready for the next contestant? All right, so please come on up. Hello, everybody. So, my name is Cassie. I'm wearing a black dress. I'm a Latino with white hair, and I have a braid on my left with red lipstick. You ready to get started? Yes, I am. Okay, the sign for Lightbox is this. So I'm a master cosmetologist for 18 years. I own a hair studio. I see some of my customers here actually. So I own a studio here in Alexandria, Virginia actually. So to be part of this particular salon or studio, you get benefits like mentorship, advanced techniques, access to education, but it means you have to be part of this particular community. So I became part of the community, and I noticed that I didn't have any accessibility. Everybody had that benefit of accessibility, but I did not. You know, the text would often have voice messages, and I would often miss networking events. And many of us, as deaf business owners, well, first of all, how many of you have a business? Raise your hand if you have a business. I see a show of hands. Okay, so I think we've all experienced similar barriers in terms of networking and our ability to network. So, this is inspired by the sandbox in the library, and which is sponsored by Convo. So, Lightbox is the next iteration, and it's suite studios for our small businesses. You can own your space in your studio in this particular building. This particular building is across from Gallaudet University, actually, and it has 3,000 square feet. So, the goal is to start with a floor plan and design and get blueprints and have studio spaces throughout this this warehouse that we could use. I know there's a lot. This is actually the wrong slide, but we'll go ahead with it. So, Lightbox, you can see the green check marks there. It provides full access in terms of interpreters, captioned workshops, A to Z for both hearing and deaf populations. You can also see here, home studios. If you have a business at home, you have free rent. And one downside of that is that I was actually just talking with a deaf wood sculptor who creates plaques, these beautiful plaques, and he sells them for $50. And I was looking at an Etsy shop, and on Etsy they were selling for $250. And it's the same type of plaque, same design, beautiful work, but a huge price discrepancy. So I'm asking why he's selling them for so little. And he says, Cassie, should I charge more? And, that question broke my heart. If they had access to the resources, they would thrive. They wouldn't be surviving, they would be thriving. So I decided that I needed to set up the Lightbox. So what will it look like? So where I work now, the salon and studio is focused on cosmetology, but this is focused more on hearing business owners who want to thrive in their small business. So we'll have conference space or conference room spaces, we'll have networking spaces, we'll have a film and photography studio. Of course, we'll have a hair studio. We'll have an area for people to hang and talk out. We'll have a cafe. So I'm in the process of negotiating for the building right now. And what I've learned is, square footage does impact the cost of the building. So we're looking at $20 per square foot for a 3,000 square foot building. If I charge $20, I would be able to profit. If I charge less than that, I would be barely breaking even. So it's important that if you're looking for a marketing space, it's important to look at the square foot cost. So overall, the cost would be about $60,000 per year for the lease. I'd be bringing in, with 12 suites in the building, about $5,000 per month, and that leaves a gross margin of about $8,000 per month with revenue and cafe income if we're at full tenancy. So I'm currently negotiating with the Small Business Association. That requires lots of time. Our goal in December is to be working on our blueprints, build out, and suite marketing, and attract business owners to join the lease structure. And then in March, we're hoping to have our kickoff and launch. The seed money would be part of my grant program, where I'll reinvest that back to the deaf community and deaf business owners who are looking for an ability to get a spot in the studio, and that will also be beneficial to us as well. So check us out on social media.
Good job, Cassie. Questions from our judges? That was a good presentation. I was looking at the numbers and the business operations. Seems like it would be a pretty significant investment. If you're earning about $8,000 a month, have you considered cost for maintenance, parking, staffing, custodial services? How would that fit into your monthly income, and what would you need in order to kind of meet the break even or better throughout the year?
That's a good question. So if you look at the first graph on the left, that's our year one plan, year one financial summary, and you can see that there's a lot of cost associated for the initial build out, for things like kitchen appliances, all of the items to operate the cafe. The cosmetology portion of the business would require build out as well and some investment. We would need also a light booth for some of the photography suite ideas that we have as well. Those build outs would require a larger initial investment. And you see that our profit the first year, our net operating income the first year would be considerably less, because we would be hiring consultants and hiring experts to help with the build out, because that's not my specialty. My goal is only to provide the initial money just to fund this endeavor. But by the second year, the goal is to have profit or net operating income of roughly $103,000. And if you see, our total expenses, which is part of our overhead, does go down quite a bit. So, yeah.
Thank you, Cassie, but unfortunately we're out of time. Judges, feel free to tally up your scores. Now, Cassie was a part of one of the very first inaugural Bison Take events and has also served as an MC. I guess, how many events have you been a part of?
My first was as an alumni, so I competed once as an alumni, and it was the first Bison Tank competition. I got second place for a blowout idea, mobile, hair salon kind of blowout business. So, yeah, and that business is still going.
And you were in an MC, right?
Yeah, well, during COVID times, I did a virtual session, and it was 3 hours long, and you did a great job, Levi, as well. And congratulations for biking across America.
And
And I did your mom's hair.
the first bison tank competition that Kasi was a part of, there was no accelerator program at the time. And the accelerator program is really 8 weeks of getting feedback on your business, target marketing, and being able to build out your business kind of fundamentals. But she was able to jump right in and pitched without the accelerator experience. So going from that experience to now having the opportunity to go through the accelerator, what's that been like for you?
You know, I thought I knew the best thing for my business because I was running it for so long. But when I went into the accelerator program, it caused me to become a student all over again. And, I did, as an assignment, a self survey type of thing. And that really caused me to change my mindset. And it was a huge benefit to do that. And I would say to any deaf business owner out there, um, you know, I would encourage you to get a suite in our studio, and really, if you look at entrepreneurship out there, 30 people said that they didn't want something like this, and I decided to ask people why, and they said that they were more comfortable at home, and it was interesting. They said that they traveled a lot, they didn't want to have to pay for the extra expense. Some people said that they didn't have any other resources as well. So I think that this is what's actually missing in our community, actually. By providing these resources, I think that people would thrive. So I think that, that survey really impacted me a lot, and thinking about that impacted me a lot.
Yeah, so even though you were currently a business owner, you still benefited from the accelerator program. I guess that goes to show you never know what you might learn as a result. All right, thank you for your time, Cassie. Next contestant, come on up.
I think she was, but I can take her. Yeah, it's intelligent. All right, hello everybody. All right, hello. So my name is Nicolia. So I'm a white woman. I have blonde curly hair. I have a black shirt, kind of a turtleneck. I'm wearing gray pants. I've got dark shoes and a green necklace on. All right. Are you ready to get started, Nicolia? All right, good luck. Okay, thank you. Okay, so my vision and my presentation today is called iDeaf. So we all know about the Deaf Club of Age Old. It's a very, very sacred space, but my idea is to have this space in an online environment. So here's a picture of me on this slide. This is some of my experience. So when I came to Gallaudet, I set up a business called Feel Magazine, and I grew that business for a while, and recently I set up something called Tada Studios, which is a creative agency, and the goal is to provide services to nonprofits, businesses, theaters. I also work at a hearing theater organization and have seen lots of issues in our community. So what I've seen is scarcity, lack of resources or limited resources, people being siloed, working in isolation. So people working in rural areas might need more support. When upstate New York, I met a person who was in their 20s. Well, I met a person who was in their 60s, actually, and they had never been very involved in the deaf community. And that I recognize as a problem, and I wanted to find solutions and dig in a little more. So I started asking more people questions about their experience on social media as a deaf and hard of hearing user, and the results were mixed. 80% expressed frustration with content, having a hard time finding new content and information. 79% felt like they weren't sure if it was beneficial use of their time, and 75% felt like they were frustrated with their options and didn't feel like it was a good way to meet people. So the problem was very evident to me. So the solution is something called iDeaf, which is a deaf ecosystem, and which stands for Inclusive Deaf Ecosystem and Advancement of the Future. So the deaf population is all over the place, and we can connect them online. So this population has, or this project has a 2-person team. me and Eric Belovzovsky. So the goal is to provide services in creative design, and we've seen this firsthand with Tada Studios. And this program is going to be under Tada Studios. So, the goal is to have an all-inclusive platform that will have many benefits to our community. You know that there's Etsy out there for buying different products. There's Eventbrite for finding different events. Indeed for finding new jobs. We want to have something that combines a lot of these tools in one platform. This is what the interface would look like. We already have the interface ready. We've not built it and developed it ourselves. We've used a third-party developer to help us build this app. And this just shows you a snapshot of what the directory looks like. But we'll have forums, groups, events, newsletters, media center, and journeys really is for people just being able to talk about different experiences. The idea is that it's going to be a very, very broad software program. This is a couple other screenshots as well. So we have many different offerings that are beneficial. For users, they're able to search for interesting feeds. For space owners who are looking for pages, they're going to have subscriptions that they can get. For business and organizations, they're going to have spaces that help them for advertising. To get money, we'll generate money through yearly subscription services, where you'll have to pay for moderators, and there's different tiers, 3 different tiers. For business organizations, we will offer a discount of $3 a month if they are willing to collaborate and they can get that discount. And there'll also be a extra fee for moderation. So our goal with this platform is economic independence. That's very, very important for our community. Economic empowerment. So our projected growth from users, from sites, and from businesses is on this graph. Initially, our projected expense is low because we already have the software built, and our goal now is to grow it and give back to the community. So these are our projections over 3 years, and this is showing if we had the specific amount of users that are listed there. And we have a beta waitlist, which is open now. We have beta groups opening in June 2026. Speed needs to, our business model really points to this quote from Eric, which is, seeds need right soil to sprout. So now, I'm hoping that you all are willing to help join us, and if you're curious, please use this QR code and join.
All right, now we're ready for our questions from the judges. What makes your platform different? You said you were going to use a third-party platform. Can you share a little bit more about that and how that's going to make your platform different than anyone else's?
So, we know we vetted different platforms out there, did a lot of testing. The best platform that we found that had the best user experience out of all and had the most benefits are what we went with that would benefit the most people in our community. And they also have the most user-friendly experience from our point of view, which it was all a team of deaf people. Others had issues with navigation, very clunky, and if you in terms of how it looks when you have video logs or video discussion, it was very difficult. So we found this to be the best.
When it comes to the projected users in your platform, can you share some of that? And if you're able to get those projections, what would that mean for your business?
Definitely. So we have our projections here. We have one high projection and one low projection. So we know we're going to start small. We need community buy-in. That's very important. Having trust and having the community have a sense of safety is important. So we know that growth will be incremental. Initially, we're looking at business organizations and look at how we can use them to help leverage them to help increase our outreach and draw more people in. And that's when we can start to see more exponential growth.
I think the last question was what I was going to ask, so I'm good. Okay, how are you feeling?
I feel great. It's surreal. It's my third bison tank competition. Um, so I actually have done this two times before. So it's nice to be here as an alumni.
It must feel good to be back on campus, right?
Yeah, it's great.
I think the first time there was no accelerator program, but the second and third time you participated, you had that experience. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I was very thankful for that. The third time was a much more just a different experience. Having those teams and shout out to the entrepreneurship program and the group of people here because they really helped.
What was different between your second experience with Bison Tank and this third experience? Can you share some of those details?
Sure, that's a great question. So I noticed the first time around, it was my first time doing it. So, there was a lot of templates and materials that were provided to start with. And this time we've had more involvement with deaf businesses and deaf mentors. And that has really been the most amazing part. And, having staff that I can actually talk to and talk with about my ideas, I really appreciate that. I'm very thankful to my mentor.
Now, you talked about the experience of having a mentor. Other than your direct mentor, was there anyone else that was able to help you fine tune your pitch? Was there anyone else that comes to mind?
I appreciate Sean and Felicia as coaches, as pitch coaches. They really were a big help. They helped me get my pitch down to a manageable amount of time and helped me organize my thoughts and information in a way that it was, good to present.
Yeah, I remember being in your shoes and having to really cut down my pitch time. And I think we've got those people in attendance right now. So thank you for your support. Was there anyone else that you want to recognize? Yeah, they're probably here with you in spirit. What was a challenging experience that you had as being a part of the accelerator program?
The most challenging part was developing the survey and then really engaging with everybody. Figuring out or you just having to explain to them what it was all for, and that was good and a challenge at the same time.
How were you able to reach out to people and find respondents for your survey?
So the team, they were able to share the survey, and then I posted my story on Instagram as well. Asked people to fill it out. I convinced some of my friends to help me fill it out as well. Some names came up that I didn't know their names, and I just had to, rely on other people to help me out. But it was a range of people that helped me do this, and I would encourage you to use your friends, use your networks, use social media. That's the way to do it.
What's important about having respondents or survey responses from people that you didn't know as opposed to those that you did know?
The risk is if you're just working with somebody that you might have bias, or the person might already know your business vision and they might just be filling it out because they want to give you some answers that you want to hear instead of giving you the honest truth and giving you a honest feedback and impulsive feedback. And people that you don't know, it just means that you're getting a bigger reach or instead of just staying inside your circle. All right, thank you for your time. Thank you all so much. Okay, please introduce yourself and provide a visual description.
I'm Arlene Garcia Gunderson. I'm wearing a black sport coat with brown shoulder length hair. Latina, lighter skinned woman, yellow and black glasses with orange shirt and black pants. Good evening. I've had 25 years of professional experience. I graduated from Gallaudet University, got my master's in education, um, educational administration. So those are the various roles and experiences that I've had in my background. This is the problem that we're facing today. Technology has moved incredibly fast, but not for everyone, particularly those in our deaf community. 70 million people worldwide face barriers to quality education. There's no federal oversight to the provision of resources to deaf and hard of hearing children and families. There's a silent epidemic of language deprivation, and it's seriously prevalent throughout the US when it comes to deaf education. Our solution is a platform for deaf education that's accessible and designed by and for the deaf community. A directory of expert tutors, mentors, specialists, educators who are all using American Sign Language. Now, all of those tutors will be rated by deaf community members. For those who use our mentors, they will have the opportunity to provide their experience ratings. Now, this is not only a platform, but also a service. This platform will have fully developed sign language first interface and visual navigation. You can connect to providers using sign language. And most importantly, we will be transparent in our data collection. Oftentimes, when it comes to data for deaf and hard of hearing individuals, it's commingled with other demographic groups. Here's our marketplace opportunity. 70 million deaf people globally and millions of hearing parents, educators, and more are learning sign language. There's a growing demand for online learning post-pandemic. We've seen a boom in this area. Public schools today have IEPs. However, the quality of services required by IFSPs and IEPs are not always met. Here's what our business model looks like. We provide tutoring services, business to consumer. We also have institutional partnerships where we can partner with universities, K-12 organizations, businesses, etc. We provide professional trainings and workshops. You can subscribe as well if you want to be able to access, a certain number of minutes for some of these trainings and workshops. And this slide shows you our revenue streams. Now, this is not just a crisis, it's also an opportunity. We know that there are some cuts happening at the federal level that are quite serious, and it's at times like these where we come together and we're seeking to create a centralized platform for all. The impact will be largely felt, and here's the ask. We seek to grow a pool of sign language tutors, establish a digital media hub, scale the platform with video capacity, platform operations, outreach and marketing, content creation, productions, and data collection, with all of these leading to the end of language deprivation. So, please join me and support me in this vision of establishing the platform in order to bridge language access and educational equity worldwide, with the urgency to end language deprivation.
All right, round of applause. Thank you very much. Are you ready for the question and answer session? Okay. Hi, so 70 million, that's a large number. Maybe you would want to narrow down to your growth plan to a local scale, because 70 million is such a huge number compared to where you're at.
So something that I'll share is, actually, if I could go back a bit, we plan to hire our first 100 tutors at $40 a session. $32 will go to the tutors, $8 will go towards operation and revenue. And as we grow, we project that by year 5, we'll have 1,000 plus tutors. Now, the platform shows that the numbers are consistent, and so regionally, the numbers are reflected in this slide. I don't know if you know this, but in 2016, I established a similar concept of a platform. I launched in April 2016, and I had 4,000 tutors sign up in 1 month. So that's what I'm considering to be small scale for now, but we could potentially reach 4,000 subscribers a month.
So you're going to start small and local for right now, and then you're going to try to grow, and then at that point you'll add more tutors.
Yeah, so the more tutors we have, the more services we can provide. And keep in mind that our language and our culture is not tied to any particular country. And that's something that is a bit of a challenge, which we face every day. And so my goal is that this platform will service our country, where we can go find our people, find the services that we need, provided by native ASL users or native signers. I know that there are other competitive platforms out there, but the signers that are featured are not native. And so with our platform, if our customers have a preference on a specific language or a subject, whoever they select as their tutor will be a native sign language user. I do anticipate that we will have a global presence. We've gotten interest from several countries outside of the US, and so we envision that we will establish a global presence.
So I saw your cost structure, and suppose, you know, if you need, like, for example, if, I guess, how do you substitute money from other sources to help people pay for this if they don't have the money to pay for it?
Well, you have to be creative, seek out grant opportunities, federal funding opportunities, and I think that's a challenge right now, but we have to consider how we can move forward.
All right, I actually have some questions for you, so don't don't run off just yet. So while they're scoring, I have some questions for you. All right, thank you for your time. So if you were to win tonight, what's the first thing that you would do for your business?
I would start by hiring someone. I work full time, and so I'd like to bring someone on and make sure that they're able to focus on the business, hiring tutors, and that would be the plan for the first year. I plan to pay that person $500 a month, and it's really an opportunity for other deaf people to work on my platform. So I would use that $5,000 in that first year hiring that person, and that's where the seed money would go to.
All right, well, if you're looking to get started, reach out. All right, so your pitch, one thing that the audience should keep in mind, one thing that you want the audience to keep in mind after they leave tonight, what is that one thing that they just have to take away?
This platform is not simply a platform in and of itself. I call this platform the deaf community, a resource for the deaf community where they can access connections of native sign users from all over the world. If you are interested in even becoming a tutor, and helping our future generation, please sign up.
What's one skill or one mindset that you feel like you have gotten from the accelerator program?
Wow. The 8-week accelerator program wasn't something that I was planning to sign up for, but I noticed on an Instagram post That day there was 3 days to the deadline, and I know that there were a number of people who are reaching out to me and asking why I didn't get involved with that. And my response was because my children and all the commitments that I had. But once I saw that post, I thought I'd go for it, and I sent a video to them. And one of the best things about that 8-week course is that it really prepared me to actually do this and to fly. And so I feel much more confident now than I did in 2016. And the customer discovery process that I went through helped validate the need that the community has for this platform.
So some of you might wonder what customer discovery out there, and that is really identifying your market out there. And that requires doing surveys and figuring out what customers are wanting. All right, our time is up. You can actually exit the stage because scoring is completed. Okay, so our next contestant, our last but not least contestant, come on up to the stage. Hello, hello, everybody. All right.
Please introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Jocelyn Garcias. Everyone calls me Joe. I'm a Hispanic, or I'm a Latina. I've got tight black hair. I'm wearing a black tank top and a green set of pants. Hope you're all ready for my presentation. Okay, thank you all. All right, thank you, Levi. Okay, so my business is called Lumo Care, and what it is accessible care in ASL built on trust and connection. So I have a question for you all. Who has children and have struggled to find a daycare or a daycare specialist who's ASL proficient? I see lots of hands out there. And who wants to work with children but has struggled to find a job? I see lots of hands out there as well. So first, I want to start by telling you my story. So you see that picture at the very top? That's my large extended family. It includes my parents, my siblings, my nieces, nephews, my kids. I'm the only deaf person in that whole picture, in that whole hearing family. So I went to a mainstream school. Our first language is Spanish there. We tend to have winter, summer, winter breaks, fall breaks, and I would go to places where I wouldn't have an interpreter. My younger sister was 3 years younger than me, and they'd be interpreting for me. And they weren't that skilled, actually, at signing. They just were, using home signs. So later, my passion became working with children. So I've been working with children for over 20 years. So I became a mother of 2 children, 2 codas, and continued working to try to find a daycare or, parent services in ASL. And I still had a very, very difficult time doing it. Reached out to the deaf community, and deaf families reiterated that they had a very hard time finding qualified, certified daycare providers in ASL. So I started a Facebook group called Childcare in ASL, and it went kind of viral, and it grew to 1.4 thousand members. So what I've noticed are some common problems. Families need childcare with ASL skills. There's a high demand for that, but it's hard to find that skill set, which means that families end up needing to find another provider that doesn't have that direct, clear access in terms of communication. They're spending the same amount of money and they're getting a service without the same benefit as their hearing counterparts. So oftentimes our providers are looking and trying to find jobs. They're not able to find jobs. Their coworkers and friends are experiencing the same thing. So our Facebook group that we use today, or Facebook is not used very much today, I should say. People are using Instagram, TikTok, and these new social media apps, and people are having less and less Facebook accounts. So how do we solve this problem? So the solution of the problem is to set up a website that provides professionals and providers in one centralized place. And you can screen your vendors and find a match based on your preferences and availability all in ASL. You could post jobs. You could post jobs for qualified, certified candidates. Any of the criteria necessary, you can post and find matches. We're hoping to provide training and first aid and CPR as well that people need in order to meet their qualifications as well. So there is competition out there, but what I have noticed is that they're all focused on hearing consumers. I want to deliver a safe and trusted, reliable place to protect children and families, focused on providing services in ASL and being centered on ASL and sign language. I also want to make sure that it's an affordable price as well, because I've seen that services out there are very, very expensive. And again, oftentimes deaf people are paying the same price and it's not meeting our needs. So I've worked as a nanny before, and I've noticed that that type of job tends to be not listed high on my feed. So we need to have a platform that prioritizes ASL services and our needs. So what our plan is to set up a website. It's first going to have a basic plan, a free plan where you can set up a profile, you can set up your schedule, you can set up your information, but we'll limit the profile for protecting, privacy and confidentiality reasons and your job reasons. And if you want to know more information, you'll have to enter a paid subscriber plan, and then you can have direct access to families and to businesses providing services. We'll also add a background check feature as well, to be able to make sure that you're picking, the best possible match or best possible service. So, like I said, the Facebook group has been great. It's been a great way to connect and grow, not only with deaf families, but with hearing families as well. So we want to make sure that the platform is accessible for everybody. So we want people to change from their Facebook profile on the Facebook page and get logged in on our web page. And there they'll find more features, for example, tutoring services, video conferencing services, and we're hoping to develop an app that becomes more easy to navigate than having to go through a website. We're also hoping, again, to provide childcare, like I said, that's accessible in ASL, and provide job opportunities for those in the deaf community. So the ask, $5,000, we're hoping to use that to complete product development and launch our website. It'll provide some operating cost, and we're hoping to as well develop captions and content for hearing and deaf people. If you want to join, if you're ready for our launch, this is our wait list, or this is the QR code to join our wait list. So please scan it, join, and let's make it happen. All right, you ready for the Q&A?
Great job. I'm trying to envision this business idea, and is this going to be web-based only?
Well, we want to transition from our Facebook page to our web page so we can provide more services. Okay, I'll hold my question.
So I have 4 children who are all deaf, and childcare was a struggle for me growing up. I'm thinking about childcare providers using sign language. How are you going to be able to verify that they're licensed?
Well, yeah, that's very, very important to make sure that the providers are qualified, certified, and also verified with a background check. We'll use a third-party verification background tool and make sure that our candidates are qualified. That's the utmost priority to make sure that people are safe.
I've never had experience using this kind of platform. Is this parents finding childcare online, or how does that work?
That's a great question. So the website, you'll be able to search, for example, like Rover. If you're looking for a pet almost, you'll be able to search and find the best match based on your needs, and find the best match based on your cost and budget, and be able to meet up with them, interview them, and proceed based on that. If if they work from home or et cetera, or if they're in your preferred area or workplace. And this is Levi. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answers, and it's time for them to do the scoring.
What was some difficult feedback that you got as a part of being a part of the accelerator program? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, in the beginning, I had such a big idea, and it was such a huge scope, but they really said that you have to go back and start way at the beginning, like you're just a little baby, and like you're just barely able to feed yourself, and you have to go from there. So I really started, I pared down my idea to just one service, and that was a challenge for me because I was thinking so big and thinking I was ready to do all that, but really it's not true. You have to start smaller.
Yeah, usually when it comes to a business idea, it can be really tough to go from a broad idea to a very singular focus. How did you do that?
Well, I looked at what people are needing every day, and that's childcare. That's something that's essential. And I also saw, working with children for the past 20 years, the issues of language deprivation and for deaf children and hearing families that don't have access to sign language. So I think it's critically important, and it's an absolute key that we're working with those children that have language deprivation and make sure they have access. So when you started the accelerator program, what's some personal growth that you've had, and what's impacted you the most? Well, for me, I grew up in a mainstream program at a hearing school, and coming into the accelerator program, I realized that there were so many resources that were there for me. So I was able to really channel all of that into one effort and combine both the hearing and the deaf world, and that really led to a lot of personal growth on my part.
Being a part of the accelerator program not only helps you, but can help others. Who's someone else that was able to help you throughout your journey?
I want to thank Matt. He was my primary mentor, and if it wasn't for him and the information he provided, it would be, it wouldn't be possible. He really helped me apply my idea to both the hearing and the deaf world, and I appreciated his insight.
Now, what did the mentoring experience actually entail? For those who have never experienced this before, what was mentoring like for you?
A lot of discussion and really narrowing it down to one core idea and starting with that. And then, sequentially adding more to it to get the ball rolling instead of just being all over the place. It led to a more fluid process, and I really appreciated them doing that with me.
So they were able to guide you through your next steps. I'm glad you had a good experience. Okay, I think that's it for the judges. Thank you so much for your time, Joe. At this time, all the pitches are complete, and the judges will tally up their scores. While they do that, I'd like to take a moment and talk about my experience in Bison Tank and answer some questions you might have for me. Last spring, when it came to the Bison Tank competition, I saw it in middle school, but I never thought that's something I'd be a part of. And when I came in my freshman year, I did have a new business idea, so I decided to do something about that. Someone suggested that I join Bison Tank, and I thought to myself, why not? I submitted an application, and I did not realize how much GIEI invested in resources, grant funding for us to further develop the deaf ecosystem. It was a huge benefit to me. Not only that, but I was able to experience mentorship, and as a second-year student continuing through my classes here at Gallaudet, I recognized the value of the mentors, and I realized why they're paid. And I can't speak enough to the value that the mentors instilled in me. And something I'll share is that if you're looking to get the same benefits that I have, go ahead and join that accelerator program because it was the best 8 weeks. Okay, looks like the scores have been tallied pretty quickly. At this time, I'd like to announce our third place winner. If we can have a representative from the Business Student Council come on up. Could you introduce yourself and an image description?
Sure, I'm wearing a blue shirt with some graphics on it. I'm wearing some jeans. I got blue and white shoes. I'm a white kid with curly hair. My name is Matthew. This is my name sign. I'm vice president of the BSC, the Business Student Council at Gallaudet, and I am a senior, 4th year, majoring in business administration or business and management, or minoring in accounting, business and minor in accounting. So, you guys curious who won third place? Yeah, my heart's racing. All right, are you all ready for the winner? Let's get a round of applause for the winner. Let's get some excitement going. All right, so the third place goes to Jocelyn Garcia. So come on up. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, let's have our second place. All right, you guys ready? Or do you want to build any excitement, or you want to just jump right into it? Yeah, let's just jump right in. I'm very excited. All right, second place goes to Nicolia Sereda. So round of applause for Nicolia. All right, and our first place Bison Tank winner is, I'm going to have our rep, Joe from Convo come up. All right, you all excited? It's a beautiful plaque. Let me get my glasses on. All right. And the winner, do you want me to go ahead and just tell him? Who? Brianna. Come on up, Brianna. All right, thank you all.
And that's a wrap for this year's Alumni Bison Tank. Have a wonderful homecoming. Thank you for being here. And keep an eye out for our student Bison Tank competition in the spring semester. For our contestants and judges, please stand by for photographs.